Well, now this is part four. Part four of what a mess the New World Order has given us. Now, in part one and part two, in particular in part two, I gave you the rundown, the covenant, the pact, the agreement that all of the secret societies have between each other. I read each item out to you, and one of those items, which I'm going to read again to you, was telling you and me that they want everybody in the world to believe what they want us to believe. Well, I don't go for that. Now, I'll just say this. I left school when I'm 13. My first job in a chicken hatchery, Bowen Chicken Hatchery in Erina and Gosford. I'm not a rabbi, I'm not a pastor, I don't belong to any church, and I do not belong to any Jewish synagogue. But when it comes to the creatures and nature and the ecosystem around us, I've had a lot of close work with that because I did have a fish farm and I know a lot about breeding and hybrids. Now, I got a comment from one of the people on part two of the last film, and I'll read it to you. I'm on the same level as you with the New World Order gang, but I have a real problem with the creation myth. And I see you are a believer. I'd really like to know what makes a seemingly intelligent person, which I have no doubt you are, believe in the creation myth. Well, I'm going to show you why I'm believing in the creation myth. I believe it as a fact. And I'm not a doctor of science, but I've been in the universities that lectures on evolution, the tree, the Big Bang, the natural selection. And I said to one of the lecturers one day, I said, well, do you realize that all fish, all birds, all animals belong to one of three categories? That is, they are either carnivore, omnivore, or herbivore. And that constitutes the ecosystem. So you can't start with one big bang, a big blob, and 4 cells make 8, then 16, then 32, and 64, and so on. That does not work. Nor does it work that if you had natural selection. Because how long would it take a cockatoo that eats seed eat a plate of meat? It would die before it would recognise that the meat was the food. Now, there's a point I'm going to make here in this next section, and I'm using a fish tank to give you an idea of what we're talking about, because a lot of you people have a fish tank in your home. Firstly, here's a repeat of what I gave to you in part two of the pact, the agreement between all of the secret societies that are waggle their way into every part of our life, in our governments and into our education system. When all this is in place, the reality we will have created for them, we will own them. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. And when our goal is accomplished, the new domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by the beliefs we have established from time immemorial. You know, I said to a person the other day, why are you a certain religion? Oh, because Mum and Dad are. Have you ever looked at what they teach? No. So you can see we are puppets of believing what our Mum and Dad, our peers, what we learned at school. We don't go outside the box, or we should. Now, what you're looking at on the screen, of course, there is an aquarium, and you'll see a lot of those little neon tetras that come from the Amazon River and some platies. But the point I want to make here for you, in that there is a plant called Alodia and some other species of plant life there. That used to be abundant in all of the creeks that came into every city, all around, every town along the coast of Queensland, New South Wales. That's all gone. And it's because of glyphosate, Roundup. We gave a report to the government 20 years ago that 1 drop of glyphosate or Roundup in a big 80-gallon aquarium would be sufficient to kill all the plant life. Now when it rains, the councils have used millions and millions and millions of litres of glyphosate. When it rains, all that gets washed out into the estuaries, into the ocean, and it kills the seagrass, which in turn leaves no habitat for the whiting, the bream, to spawn. But worst of all, of course, all of the dugong have gone. So let's grab one of these little fish and have a close look at it. This is a neon tetra from the Amazon River in South America, and it lays very, very small eggs, and the eggs are translucent, and when they do hatch, the babies are so small you can hardly see them. But what you have to do is make sure that they've got some very fine infusoria food, because if there's not very fine infusoria food, then the babies won't live. Now when we talk about natural selection and up the evolution tree, how long would it take for this to evolve out of the Big Bang, or the cells? Because this little fish only lives for 7 years, 8 years, and is not going to last a million years in the evolution tree. And when you want to compare this with natural selection, think again. That's absolutely nonsense. If you want to believe all that nonsense has come through the secret societies and the Darwinism, okay, believe it, but it does not measure up. Now, I could give you hundreds of examples to disprove the evolution story, but let me give you this one because we don't have a lot of time. This is about a swift, wingspan 38 centimetres. It migrates from northern Europe to southern Africa and Australia every year. We're talking about a round trip of 25,000 miles to 35,000 kilometres. It's called Apus apus. Now it can reach the speeds of 112 kilometres per hour, or that's 70 miles per hour, flying horizontally. It can break the speed limit going along the highway. This swift spends most of its time and lives in the air. It lives on insects. They drink in the clouds, feed, mate and sleep on the wing in all weather. And they rise above the clouds for added safety when they need to get out of the turbulence. Now you tell me about creation being a myth, or I'll tell you at least this could never have happened in the evolution theory, up the evolution tree, by natural selection to attain what I've just talked to you about. That would be impossible. Now this little fella, something else to look at. It has its eyes set back behind a cavity for protection against the wind at the high speeds that it is travelling. Tell me if that happened through the evolution. Did that happen by chance with a Big Bang? Now you've seen that the secret societies in their covenant have told you that they are in charge of everything that you learn. And if you want to believe that nonsense, I don't. I want to ask you one more question before I close this little segment. Can an F-111, can an F-18, can the jets that are made by your scientific friends in the world today, can they match the ability of this bird? And the answer is no. You can ask your scientific friends, how could they give you answers to this? Well, I'll tell you something, they can't. And this little fella was created perfectly by the hand of the divine Yahweh, Creator God. The divine truth from them, that we are all one, all religions are under our control, this they must never know. Now I want to tell you something, as I said to you before, in my previous report. Where are the pastors and where are the rabbis that should be standing up against the horror and annihilation and the wars that are going on? Where are they? Well, I'm going to tell you something in this report as we go further in it. The churches and the rabbis are up to their nose, they're up to the necks as partners with the United Nations. Yes, they are. You're going to get the shock of your life. And you've just read here in this oath of affirmation that they're going to use the mainstream religious organisations. They must never... Then the last part of this report, before I go into part 5, in this next part I want to show you something where the secret societies, collectively, they are in control of NATO, they're in control of the Secret Service. They're in control of the military. And most important of all, whilst there's been thousands and thousands of complaints going to the government about the HAARP, HAARP, and the chemtrails, they have given back to the media a load of nonsense and lies to try and tell you that's a conspiracy. They're not real. Well, I'm going to show you soon. I'm going to show you the patents on the chemtrails, and I'm going to show you how they are dropping the chemtrails, not contrails, in the sky, and I'm going to give you a report from the government forensic laboratory showing you how many minerals are in that chemtrail that they're spraying on top of your head in the sky. So just have a look at this. First of all, I'm going to put on the screen, and you can see it there, that is a plane spewing out chemtrails. Not contrails, chemtrails. All of the governments will not tell you that it's happening. They will tell you that it's a conspiracy. All of the members of parliament are kept secret about this. The media won't tell you about it, and worse than that, you can write to the media, you can ring up the television stations, and they will ignore you. They'll tell you that it's contrails, condensation trails. Well, let me tell you something. A condensation trail behind a plane only lasts for no more than 3 to 4 lengths of the plane, then that contrail will dissipate. These chemtrails you will see crossing the sky for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and now I'm going to show you from a water test that we did from the rain that came out of the sky how many bad poisons are in it. Now on your screen you can see this is a patent. I might tell you something, this patent was lodged in 1975. They've been up to their necks in doing these chemtrails for a long time, but they have now perfected this technology. And that, if you want to go into the internet, you can get, I think there's 12 pages of the patent for you. There are several diagrams and maps with the patents that you can find on the internet, and you're looking at one of these on your screen now. And of course realize that collectively all of these secret societies who have told you in their pact, in their agreement, in their covenant, they have had this technology kept secret for a long time, and they're ready to use it under the world for their own personal gains. Now on the screen you can see when I got the water tested from the rain. Remember, ordinary rain that comes out of the sky should not be any more than 1 or 2 parts per million. The water that we tested was way up to about 47 parts per million. On the screen now you can see that there was aluminium, arsenic, barium, beryllium, boron, cadmium, chromium, cobalt, copper, iron, lead, lithium, manganese, mercury, and so on. All of those heavy metals were in the rain. Now this was on the ABC News. There's one picture of thousands of tons of fish that are dying up at the Barrier Reef with lacerations on them caused by chemical poison. The poisons that have been released into the water from the runoff, they have killed dugong, crabs, crayfish, sharks, fish. Everything that you can imagine is dying up there by the thousands of tons. This is caused by the chemicals from the Monsanto and other chemical manufacturers that the secret society are in control of the government, and they tell us that these poisons are safe. What do you think? Now there's something that I'd like for you to know is going on behind the scenes. It's going on as a government behind the government, but it's even higher than that. Are we talking about the secret societies? Now the secret societies, and you can have Bilderbergs, Illuminati, Masons, the Freemasons, the Club of Rome, the Fabian Society, and so on. All of these secret societies are linked, and they have an oath that they swear to. It's called, I'll bring up a copy. You can get this on the internet. It's called the Secret Society Covenant. Let me read some of these to you. And you can get a copy on the internet, but let me read a couple of these to you, and then let's marry it up to a couple of the things that are happening in the world. And remember, I'm reading something that is the oath of agreement, the covenant between the secret societies. 1. Illusion we will have so big, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as being insane. We will create separate fronts, reputable organisations, to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will have as we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will prevent them from seeing changes we make as they occur. Remember the report that I gave to you. If you put a frog in a cold bucket of water, it'll stay alive. If you heat up that water and boil it, the frog will still stay in there and get cooked and die. But if you throw a frog in a hot pot of water, it'll jump out and save its life. So all this the secret societies are doing is doing it everything step by step and slowly, so you don't have any suspicions of what's going on. We will work together always and will remain bound by our blood and secrecy, and death will come to those who speak out. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite, showing false healing and support. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of things about the false healing and support, because the AMA, the medical fraternity, want to keep you sick. They make a lot of money out of keeping you sick. Later on. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information and man-made viruses to spread the poison and the vaccinations. This is what their plan has been for 100 years. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, and what they drink, eat, breathe, and what they wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that poisons are good for using fun, images, musical tones, and media that we control. Those they look up to will engage to help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. AMA Medical Fraternity and the dental industry, and of course they've done just that. They have enlisted professors and doctors and dentists to speak up for them. They will see that our products are widely used on films and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect in destroying their human system. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their help and for their good. Is that happening or not? Thousands of children are dying all over the world from vaccinations. And because they own the media, it's all kept quiet and you don't know about it. We will start early on. When their minds are young, we will target their children with what children love most: sweet things and sweet drinks. And now you've got all of these sweet drinks and sweet things everywhere you walk, in every shop. You go and buy petrol, you go and buy a newspaper, on the counter there it is. And guess what? Our body, to be healthy, has to be kept alkaline. And guess what these drinks and lollies do? They make your body acid. And there's no wonder that people are obese and coming down with ill health. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicines that will make them sicker and cause other diseases, for which we will create yet more damaging medicine. What do you think of that? We will render them weak and docile before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poisons. We will focus their attention towards the money and the material goods so they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with sexual, fornication, external pleasures, sports and games, so they will never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We'll use fear as our primary weapon. We will establish their governments and also establish opposite or opposition political groups within it, and we will own both sides. Have they done that or not? In America, in England, in Australia, they own both sides. Labor, Liberal, Greens, doesn't matter. National Party, doesn't matter. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure. What do you think of that? They will perform their labour for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. We will make sure they kill each other when it suits us. We will fund both sides of wars, and this is what they did in World War I, World War II. And we will take the spoils after making the winner pay for the cost of the lost with the vanquished. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them with kindness and gentle, letting them think that they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them, and through our factions we will do this. When a light shines amongst them, we will extinguish it by ridiculing that person or by death. And whichever suits our cause best, and of course we know President Kennedy was assassinated because he did see through this. We will make them rip each other's hearts out apart and kill their own children. We will cause families to split and provide funds to assist this. And have they done that? I mean, a 12 or a 13-year-old child now can tell mum that they don't want to live with mum and dad anymore, and the government will take them and look after them and give them money. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally and anger as our friend. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. We will repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds, using our tools and the media which we control, all of which is provided by their labour. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one, all religions are under our control. This they must never know. Now I want to tell you something, as I said to you before, in my previous report. Where are the pastors and where are the rabbis that should be standing up against the horror and annihilation and the wars that are going on? Where are they? Well, I'm going to tell you something in this report as we go further in it. The churches and the rabbis are up to their nose. They're up to the necks as partners with the United Nations. Yes, they are. You're going to get the shock of your life. And you've just read here in this oath of affirmation that they're going to use the mainstream religious organisation. Know that what colour is an illusion. They must always think they are not equal. We will take over their land, their property, resources and wealth to exercise total control over them, and this will be done by their own labour through our controlled financial institutions and the government that we control. Now, we've just released with Alan Jones a report on how farmers in this country are losing their land. They can't cut one tree down to do some planting of crops, but the mining cartels can come in and they can cut down 1,000 acres of trees, and they can do that without getting any fines. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children always in debt with our fiat money, F-A-A-T, and fractional reserve lending. And have they done that? We've got countries now accepting the funny money to have a stimulus. This is insane. When they band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world through our world media, which we control and own. We will use our media worldwide to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favour. They've just done that with the downfall of Libya. They've told the whole world how bad they've demonised Gaddafi. Gaddafi looked after that country better than any other leader of any other country. Do your Google research on it, you're going to get a shock. Then they rise up against us, we will crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for we will disarm them after we cause a mass murders by our mind-controlled subjects and our media spread our message. We will recruit some of their own leaders as initiates to carry our plans, as we will promise them eternal life. You get that? Hey? But eternal life they will never have, for they are not one of us. These evil scumbags think that they have eternal life. We will recruit initiates that will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of passage to higher realms. The new initiated members will think they are one of us, and never knowing the truth, they must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. They'll wake up to realise that they can't get away with the lies if you wake up to them. For their work, the new initiated members will be rewarded with earthly things and titles of great esteem. But they will never become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel the stars. They never will reach the higher realms, for the killing of their own kind will prevent passage to the realms of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will not be able to focus on it until it's too late, in plain sight. Oh yes, so grand the illusion of freedom will be that they will never know they're our slaves. I'm going to show you something here with the banking cartel later on to prove what this is saying. They are doing it. When all this is in place, the reality we will have created for them, we will own them. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. And when our goal is accomplished, a new domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by the beliefs we have established from time immemorial. You know, I said to a person the other day, why are you a certain religion? Oh, because Mum and Dad are. Have you ever looked at what they teach? No? So you can see we are puppets of believing what our Mum and Dad, our peers, what we learned at school. We don't go outside the box, or we should. What to say here? We shall have no place to run. Oh. They must never, ever find out that what we have done, for if they do, we shall have no place to run. For it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. So they don't want you to know what I'm giving you here in this information. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present life and future life. For this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans, and that it has. Look at the dynasty of the Morgans, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and so forth. This covenant is sealed by blood, our blood, we, the ones from heaven to earth we came. This covenant must never be known to exist. They don't want you to know that this exists, and yet you can get it from several places on the net now. It must never ever be written or spoken of, for if it is, the consciousness will spawn, it will release the fury of the prime creator upon us. So they realize that the creator God Yahweh is above them and above all laws and above all governments, and they realise that the people, when they find out that they can turn to the Creator God Yahweh, they're finished. And we shall be cast to the depths from whence we came and remain there until the end of time, infinity itself. So they know they will be destroyed by the hand of the Creator God Yahweh. Now, the numerous think tanks that these people have set up around the world, and of course, to mention some of them which you do know, is the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission. Many other similar organisations are all funded by the elite and they work for it. And these think tanks publish journals, such as the Foreign Affairs, in which these imperialist and anti-mankind ideas are edified as publications, and then, if need be, they've expanded in the form of books. And for example, books are already circulated in the curriculums of school on Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. And that is just a load of false junk science. It's just such an amazing thing that we've been, as people around the world, so gullible, so easy to see. Just blindly going along day by day by day, enjoying our life, thinking that we're free. We're not free. Thinking that what we've got, that we own it. No, we don't. If you go down the car tomorrow and look at all the other cars and you look at all the beautiful homes, guess who owns them? You can bet your bottom dollar. They're all owned by the banking cartel. So we're going to show you in the report how what we just read here of their oath of affirmation, their agreement that they have between each other, and how they are bringing it forth in our lives all over the world.